Alright, what's going on guys? gdoggcasey here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy XIV video. This time we're finally jumping back on the Pugilist. I had to take a week break because I just wasn't ready to do a dungeon, but I am now, and here we go. 1000 Maws of Toto-Rak. Hello to the team. So we have a couple new abilities here. We do have Fists of Earth, which I hit sprint by mistake there, but yeah, it gives us reduced damage taken by 10%. So it's not really going to play too much of a role in this dungeon, but we'll do our best. Princess Peach is going to be our tank here. Alright, so let's jump back into it. So as a pugilist, we are focusing on keeping our position, hitting the right buttons, and doing as much damage as humanly possible. And in order to do that, we need to make sure we are positioning ourselves properly and using the right combos and things. We're gonna do our best. I'm definitely not an expert at the pugilist, but I think I've been getting a little bit better here. So one of the things we need to keep up is this buff called Twin Snakes, which gives us an extra damage buff by 5%. It's not even that big. It's kind of funny because by the amount of effort I put into making sure I'm in position to hit all these things, it seems like such a small boost to our damage, but I mean, the goal is to do as much damage as possible, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be starting off with our damage over time ability, getting behind for the boot shine if we can, using our damage buffs when we have them, and I messed up with Twin Snakes there, so we'll try again. Boot shine in the back, Twin Snakes in the flank, and then Snap Punch in the flank as well. Are we targeting the right unit? Yeah, we are. Okay. Get back for boot shine. And then the weird thing is that our, what's this one called? I always forget. True Strike it requires us to be in the back to get that extra bonus. So it's a little bit weird because it's not the same position every single time. Try to get our Twin Snakes back up here, although I guess it's not really going to matter because the combat encounter is about to be finished with. And this is awkward positioning here with the enemy right up against the pillar. We weren't really able to get in position like we should have. But that's okay. Continue on. I really look forward to becoming a monk here. We're only 4 levels away, and it's going to be the first time I ever get a monk. So I'm looking forward to that. Because the monk has some pretty cool abilities and looks like a lot of fun to play, although somewhat complicated with the positional stuff, so we'll do our best. It looks like I'm tanking this. Should I, like, as a DPS, when you pull threat, like, should I stop doing damage, or do I just allow the tank to get threat back on his own? Put on Twin Snakes again. And then Snap Punch. We got awkward positioning here where we can't get behind the enemy once again, so I guess we'll just do everything from the flank. Don't really have any other options. I don't think I can get back there. Maybe I can, actually. But now it's just, like, it looks terrible. It doesn't look good on video, so I'm gonna try not to do that very often. Alright. Damage over time. Boot shine. We'll use our DPS cooldowns as well. Whoops, I messed that up. Alright, let's try again. Boot shine in the back. We gotta get Twin Snakes down here, and then Snap Punch. Usually I just try to get Twin Snakes up at the beginning of each fight, regardless on if it's like efficient to or not. Same thing with our damage over time. So boot shine. We just lost Twin Snakes anyway, so Twin Snakes and then Snap Punch. And it might not be the most optimal way to do things, but I imagine that type of, it might be a good habit to do that, because later on in the game when it starts to take a lot longer to actually kill enemies in dungeons, that type of playstyle will probably be a lot more useful. Boot shine, Twin Snakes, Snap Punch. Use our internal release. And then we can stay behind the enemy a little bit longer here, but we still gotta swing over to the side for Snap Punch. Hopefully I picked the right target here. I just kind of picked the first one Tab decided to select. We got a new target, so we'll apply Twin Snakes, and we'll also apply our damage over time. Probably would have been better to do that earlier, but that's okay. Another thing that is a little bit tough for me specifically is sticking with an enemy until it's dead. Because as a DPS now, that's my job. Whereas as a tank, I can freely switch between enemies kind of whenever I want. But as a DPS, if I see that an enemy is getting close to death, I can't get into the habit of switching to a new target too quickly, because the tank might do that too, and other people might do that, and then all of a sudden that enemy stays alive, and it's doing damage when it shouldn't be. So I gotta stick with the target until it's dead when you're playing a DPS. At least that's my policy on it. Alright, so we'll get in our Twin Snakes here. Snap Punch. And I apologize, guys, if it gets annoying hearing me sort of repeat my combo out over and over again. I'm sure that it does. I'm not doing it on purpose to try to annoy you. It's just that as weird as it sounds, it takes a lot of focus for me to be able to get this right every single time. So when I'm talking about random things, I'm definitely going to screw it up. So I compensate for that by just saying my combo out loud to sort of help myself keep on track with it, as well as talk, you know, because otherwise I'll just go silent. So it's kind of tough. Tougher than I expected. It's not quite as mindless as you would expect being a DPS to be. That's, of course, if you're trying to do it optimally. Because there's no one really forcing me to do it optimally. I could just sit here and just hit whatever buttons I want, and eventually things will die. But I'm trying to be on top of it in a much better way. Whoops. Fucked it up. See? Alright, we don't even have Twin Snakes on. So for an enemy like this that's almost dead, though, there's kind of no point. Because I'll put the buff on, and then I'll be able to hit him one more time, and then the fight will be over. And then we will lose the buff by the time the next fight starts anyway, so. Is that enough for this? I'm always confused. Sometimes we gotta go this way, other times we don't. Alright. Boss fights are where I really enjoy being a DPS, because this is where you get to just really go all out and try to do as much damage as possible. And the fight is gonna last long enough for your abilities to actually matter. Oh, fuck. I hit him with it. Snap punch in the back. I'm terrible. I think I can do at least one more of these. And then snap punch in the side, and then I think we're going to lose our Twin Snakes. Yeah, we did, so we got to come over here and get that. And then that. And then here we go. Taking some damage from poison, so we'll use Bloodbath here to heal that up a little bit. We can also use our Second Wind. No reason not to use it early. Also, because we are melee DPS, it's going to be our job to use Limit Break. Probably could have used it there, to be honest, but I did not. I'm not sure on optimal Limit Break usage. Now, I have theories on it because, you know, when Jane and I play, she's usually DPS, and we try to figure out when's the best time for her to use Limit Break. I think you can pretty much just use it at the end of every boss fight that you have it available for. Because I'm pretty sure that even if you use it on the second last boss, you will get it back by the time you're about to kill the final boss. Now, if you save it for the whole dungeon, then you can end up getting like a double strength limit break or something like that. You end up getting a second bar that you can fill out during the second boss. I just left that enemy before killing him. Bad habit. But yeah, I really shouldn't be discussing things like that while I'm trying to to fine-tune DPS here. Because I'm telling you, it seems simple, but I may have picked, you know, maybe the monk isn't one of the more difficult DPS classes, but for me, it might be. In general, the monk might not be the most difficult, but for me, there's a lot of things to keep juggling in your mind. Oh, yeah, that'll be a good idea to pick that up. I will cast my lot on this loot for them as well. I wonder, why don't you guys let me know in the comments below, what do you think is the most difficult DPS to play? And secondly, what do you think is the easiest DPS to play? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, because again, like, it sounds kind of silly, but, and you guys might not expect this, but when it comes to MMOs, not even only Final Fantasy, like in World of Warcraft and any other MMOs I may have played, I generally don't pick DPS. I'm almost always a tank, and if I'm not a tank, then I'll probably rather be a healer in most cases. Not that DPS isn't fun. I'm starting to, you know, figure that out on my own as well. Doing this series, I'm realizing how much fun I have with DPS. It's a totally different challenge. You know, as a tank, I mean, this is like, you know, the bare basics of it, but I was going to say it anyway. But as a tank, you know, your job is to make sure that you have everybody hitting you. And then as a healer, your job is to keep the entire party alive. And as a DPS, it's like, you don't have to worry about that stuff, but instead, it becomes like 100% optimal rotation usage, you know? And when you throw in positionals as well, it just becomes a lot to think about. And I imagine it's only going to get worse, too. I'm not complaining, by the way. It might sound like I'm complaining, but I'm not. I enjoy the challenge. But I can only imagine what it's going to look like at level 60. And I imagine I'm going to struggle with it. But we're going to persevere. We're going to do our best. And luckily, you know, because of all the tanking and healing that I've done, when it comes to certain parts of the encounter where, you know, the DPS need to be doing something specific, you know, mainly like when adds join the fight in a boss fight, I know that I'm going to know what to do, because I've been in that position 100 times as a tank and as a healer, and I've seen, you know, DPS not do the right thing. So it's going to be fun to, you know, encounter those situations from the DPS standpoint and know what to do, and, you know, make things easier on our tank and healer because of it. I realize I sound like kind of elitist when I say that, and I don't mean to sound elitist. And now that I've said that as well, there's going to be instances where I make, like, major mistakes. And I do not feel bad at all if you guys want to call me out on that shit. It's so funny. I saw the healer getting hit there, and my initial instinct was like, quick, get on him. I wanted to help the healer, but I don't think that I really should. I should probably stick to the target that I'm damaging and try to kill it as soon as possible, because that's how we'll help out our party. I think, anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Get twin snakes up here. Another thing, too, is that we're going to notice that some tanks move around a lot, and they make landing your positionals like a nightmare. But I cannot... I have no right to bitch about that as somebody who has very happy feet as a tank. You'll notice, like, I'm sure you guys have seen it when I'm going through my rotations, and I tend to do a lot of this in between global cooldown. Keeps my fingers warm, keeps me going. And honestly, I like it because it keeps me ready to move in case I really need to move somewhere. But it does have a tendency to move the enemies around and make things harder for the monks and dragoons to land their positionals. So if that happens, I'm saying it right now, I have no right to bitch about it because I don't know how many tanks I have put through, or not tanks, sorry, but I don't know how many DPS classes I have put through that exact same thing as a tank myself. So it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with. And if you ever hear me in a future video say something like, man, I wish this guy would just stand still, or actually like type to somebody to do something like that, let me know and give me a smack and timestamp this location of the video so that I'll come back and I'll be like, shit, I did say that, I'm sorry. This is mostly, by the way, just me practicing talking about random shit while getting my positionals right. We can use Featherfoot whenever we draw aggro to just make sure we have a little bit less damage coming in. The weird thing too is, like, when you're out doing quests as a monk or a pugilist or anything else that requires positionals, you don't really get to do that, do you? Because you're always fighting them head on. But one thing I'm kind of wondering is, and this is really hard to explain with words rather than show you, and in this setting I actually might not be able to get a chance to show you, but since I brought it up I might as well at least attempt it. Yeah, is this the one where we have to go get the other match attack thing? I think so. When you're fighting an enemy one-on-one, you have this instant here. You know what? I'm gonna pull this guy. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm gonna pull this guy so that he targets me, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So he's targeting me now, right? So when I have to use Snap Punch and hit him in the flank, if I do something like this, I might have even missed it there. But you notice when I move to the side, I have like a split second to land it. Does that matter? Should I be doing that? Like, for example, like, again, I'm fighting this guy. I'm totally pissing off the tank right now. But right now I have Snap Punch active, so if I run to the side, hit him in the side, and then come back, is that something that's worth doing? Because I actually don't know. And if it is not worth doing, I don't want to look like a silly idiot trying to pull it off. And even still, if it does work, if it's something that you can only pull off like 20% of the time or something, you know, is it even worth trying? That's my question. That's another question to you, you know, pugilist and monk experts out there, because it's probably worth knowing. All right, let the tank pull. There we go. I'm gonna keep an eye on our health here because we do take poison damage. The healer should be Asuna-ing all of these off of everybody, but I don't think she's doing that. So we gotta be ready to defend ourselves when we can. And I know some of you guys will say, you know, I should be... Well, not that I should be, but it doesn't hurt to drop a quick comment and let them know, like, hey, you know, you should do this. But I've stated it before, in these types of videos, that's not the goal of this video, for me to, you know, physically type in and tell the healer what they could be doing to do things a little bit better. Healer was late on that one. But that said, I'm, you know, because of that, because I am actively not doing that, I accept the fact that they might make mistakes and I'm not correcting them, so I've got to deal with it. I know our tank is dead, by the way, so I'm going to try to tank as best I can, if I even can. It looks like it's pretty locked onto the healer right now. But we should be able to get him killed in time here. I just reset my damage over time, which was a silly mistake. I'm not sure if the healer just forgot to heal the tank or something. Or if she was AFK or something for a minute. I'm greeting things because I'm trying to make some money. I'm going to sell this stuff on the auction house. Not a big deal. I've had that happen before too as a healer where I'm just like, you just zone out. All of a sudden you've been DPSing for like 2 full minutes and you haven't even looked at the tank's health and you see he's got like 10 hit points left and you're like, shit! And you you just totally can't get it off in time. It's embarrassing, so. Did we get in? Did everyone get in? Yeah, we all got in. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, shit. I was the silly DPS who walked into aggro range without knowing what was going on. Help the healer out a bit here. Alright, let's not completely ignore positionals here, although it's even tougher to do, first of all, when you're pulling threat, and then second of all, when you're on this slow poison muck stuff. I just had a weird situation where I looked at the this section here and I saw that nothing was hitting me, and I had a brief moment of panic before I realized that I'm not a tank. I was like, shit, nothing's hitting me? How am I doing so poorly? And then I realized I'm being silly. Get some extra damage pumping here with our Raging Strikes that we got to pull over from our Archer class that I don't actually think I will be able to use once I become a monk. Shit, I forgot to eat food. Damn it. I've been forgetting that a lot. I think I just went... Actually, you guys can go back to the healing video if you want. I'm pretty sure I did not eat at all during that video either. Feel free to get on me for that. I should be eating before every single dungeon. Whoop. Otherwise, you're just leaving experience on the table, you know? 3% doesn't seem like a lot, but 3% of 2014 is pretty decent. And then when you know, apply that to every single enemy you've killed during the dungeon, it adds up incredibly quickly. So definitely be doing that. If you want to level, if your primary goal is leveling up quick, make sure you're eating that food before each dungeon. Or before anything you do. Oh, don't pull, don't pull, don't pull. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can do this properly here. So, Boot Shine in the back, Twin Snakes on the side, and then Snap Punch on the side, and then Boot Shine in the back, pop our Internal Release, do a True Strike to the back, and then Snap Punch to the side. There we go. Rinse and repeat until the enemy is dead. There we go. Get our damage over time going, find where his back is. Boot Shine, put on a new Twin Snakes. Snap Punch. There we go. I am getting a bit better. It's becoming a little bit more natural. And I imagine the more I do it, the better it'll be. See, here I'm not even going to bother with Twin Snakes, though. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even matter, but... I don't know. It seems like the percentage, like the bonuses you get for doing things properly are pretty small. Like for this, it's a potency of 150. If you hit from the rear, it's 190. So, okay, so an extra 40 potency, that's probably not actually small. And again, each single time you do that, it adds up as damage left on the table. It's basically exactly the same thing as eating food before a dungeon. That's 40 extra potency every single time I use True Strike. If I use True Strike like 100 times in a dungeon, 40 times 100. And if that translates to actual damage done, like it does, I don't know, it's not 1-to-1 or anything like that, but you guys get where I'm going with that, so. I just talked myself into it. It is worth it. Which is why they put it in the game. Probably going to target that lightning sprite. Oops. Shit. Well, that sucks, because now that I've talked myself into that, I'm going to feel even more upset with myself when I screw it up. Or, you know, if the tank moves the guy out of my way so that it screws me up. Let's just start with Twin Snakes here since it was already active, and then Snap Punch. There we go. That felt pretty good. I still wish there was a bit more of a visual indicator on whether or not you were landing your positionals properly. I feel like it would help. You know, give me some more feedback. Let me know that it's working. We're flying through this one pretty quick, eh? We're already getting towards the final boss here. Got a couple more encounters before that, but not too many more. Wait, not even one more? Yeah, there's another one here. Okay. Hopefully everyone gets through. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Let's start getting some damage in. Boot Shine to the back, internal release, Twin Snakes on, and Snap Punch on. There we go. Back to the back again. Boot Shine into True Strike. 40 extra potency. No! See? The tank moved him, or something happened and he moved. And I didn't get the bonus damage. I need my bonus damage. No, I don't actually need my bonus damage that bad. Alright. Twin Snakes. Snap Punch. Oh, everything is hitting the healer. What's going on here? Oh, shit. Okay, well. We'll use Featherfoot here. Looks like we're tanking. A healer almost died. We'll use our Bloodbath as well. Give us a little bit more. Turn Twin Snakes back on. Snap Punch. We got it. Occasionally we're going to need to tank. Luckily we have a... Oh, let's go to this guy. We have a decent tanking background to fall back on. Internal release, Twin Snakes, Snap Punch. I might be falling into a trap where I'm applying Twin Snakes more often than I actually have to. I don't exactly know how much damage I'm losing. Alright, let's figure that out. So, if I'm using True Strike properly, I'm getting 190 potency. So instead, if I use Twin Snakes, I'm only getting 100 potency. Unless I'm attacking from the side, I get an additional... No, that doesn't even apply to that attack. So I'm leaving 90 potency on the table if I use Twin Snakes more often than I should. And again, if you use the same logic I used before, if, you know, the amount of times I misuse Twin Snakes, if you add that up, and then times that by 90... That's how much potency I'm leaving on the table. So it's a pretty severe mistake to be using Twin Snakes more often than I need to. For example, like if there's still 5 seconds on Twin Snakes and I reactivated early, I just missed out on 90 potency that I, you know, should have been using True Strike from behind. It's like making my brain work more than I normally like. As a tank, make sure enemy hits me. That's all I care about. Twin Snakes, Snap Punch, Boot Shine, True Strike, and then Snap Punch. There we go. Boot Shine. Hey, Boot Shine. True Strike. Snap Punch. Okay, there are ads. No, those are not ads. There are ads, though. Yeah, this is an ad. Let's kill this ad. Stop it from killing our healer. We'll apply Twin Snakes. So in this case, we're fighting one-on-one, right? So we actually just don't even have the ability to use our positionals. Maybe that's normal. Or maybe I should be trying this wacky, like, quick juke, quick! Hit him in the side? I don't know. Did I get extra damage there? I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I would like you experts to let me know. Alright, we've killed the ads. We've got poisoned. I know he has a... You have to target his tail at some point, but I don't think it's right now. I should probably start hitting the Maws instead of just standing here clicking on things. There's the tail, so we can attack the tail. I'll mark it as well, just in case people don't know. Put a damage over time on it, too. Reactivate Twin Snakes. Snap Punch. I can barely even hit the tail from here. That fleshy pod? I was gonna say, I'm not gonna hit it. Somehow it still blew up. Probably because I was standing on it. Alright. Put Twin Snakes back on. Got some more ads here, so... Maybe targeting the boss would be better. But the healer's getting hit by this. Maybe targeting the boss would be better. The tank is clearly ignoring it, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to make a difference. Let's use our limit break. I almost totally forgot about the limit break. That would have been really embarrassing if I just didn't use the limit break and like we almost died because of it. GG team. And that'll do it. That is the 1,000 Maws of Toto-Rak from the Pugilist perspective. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I performed up to your standards. Probably didn't. But that's okay. Let's give the DPS some love here. So go ahead and back on out. We actually got a player commendation. It always feels kind of cool to get a player commendation when you're DPS. It means like somebody noticed that you were doing a pretty good job. So hopefully that was the case here. But yeah, that's going to do it. 1,000 Maws of Toto-Rak done and dusted. And now we are moving on to the next dungeon, which I think is Hawk Manor. I think it's Hawk Manor. It is Hawk Manor. We got to hit level 28. We're level 27 now. During the weekend, I'm going to have a little bit... Or during the week, sorry, because I'm recording on the weekend. I'm going to put a little bit more focus to make sure that I can get the Pugilist up to 28. Make sure that he's ready to go for Hawk Manor. Hopefully I'm able to do that. But you guys can assume enough that if I do not release a DPS video on Friday, it's probably because I wasn't able to get them up to a certain level on time. Or, you know, I was being lazy or something. But I'm going to try to keep these videos coming out weekly. These are the ones that are going to be the most volatile because it's hard to level up a DPS. But that said, because I've been playing a lot more with my wife lately, she's got a level like 45 or something White Mage that she can get into dungeons with me with so that I can avoid that 20-minute queue time to get in, and it'll help me level them up quicker. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned next week for a bunch more Final Fantasy stuff, and we'll see you next time.